did it, y'all.
As you can tell, we're in a new location tonight.
Yes, we are.
So pause.
Mwah.
So we're in a new location for this
Everyone.
for this live tonight. We are outside.
Yes, we figured that we would keep you guys excited and doing something different because tonight's topic is about being engaged. So we figure a part of what happens sometimes in relationships is you get tired of the same thing. And so we're going to help you not get tired of us by showing you different environments. So we are outside at our public pool. So just let you know, we're not at a private pool. So if somebody walks up and starts talking to us,
We
that's a
can't be
part
held
of it.
responsible. So we just gonna jump right in tonight. We're actually gonna be talking to our engaged couples over the past, was it 4 weeks
Right.
almost? We've been working with couples and doing those things, but tonight we actually wanted to bring you guys some questions that you can
should ask, or you should be able to, you should be thinking about asking before you get engaged.
So
And
go ahead.
so go ahead with the
No,
first
no,
one.
go ahead.
Okay, so I think it's important that we talk about, understanding that the reason why we're doing this is because if you don't ask these questions before you get engaged, sometimes it's harder to cancel a date. So we want to help you to be prepared so that before you get engaged, these are 10 questions, but we may not ask all 10. We're going to ask 5 of them, and all 10 of them are in the show notes. So go ahead, baby.
So the very first one that you want to start out with, even in your conversations as you're dating, is talk about your goals and ambitions.
Yes. Yes. I think the first one should be, let's change that one. I think the most important question, the first question you should ask before you get engaged is, do you have shared faith? Because one of the things we realized after working with couples for so many years, we've gone through so many programs, we work with so many different curriculums. The one thing that I think is missing in so many marriage preparation systems or practices
Curriculums.
or curriculums is that they don't think about the fact that God created marriage. And so if he created it, he must have an idea of how it should work. So the first thing you guys should share is a shared faith.
Because you think about that, if you're just dating and you are of one faith and your person that you're dating is of another faith, while you may be physically attracted and visually, and you may get along and you may have cohesive ideas about this certain things and just may gel, but guess what?
It's going to rip you apart.
It's going to come up sooner or later. If the relationships goes further down the road, you're going to get to a point where you have to make a decision about where are you going to align yourself with.
And so it starts with a question like this: who is Jesus to you?
If you're a Christian,
but
that's because we are, yeah.
Because we are. So that would be the first question, is because that's something you need to share. You need to both understand who Christ is to you. Because to me, he's my savior. Mm-hmm. He died on the cross. He's not just a prophet. He is the king. He is who I live my life for. Who is Jesus to you?
So, my savior. I mean, that's just something that you have to talk about,
right,
as you're in a dating phase and even before you get engaged.
Yes.
So now we get to go back to my first one, which was goals and ambition.
Yes.
The reason why that is important, because if you're walking down the road of trying to accomplish or do something and that person is not in line with your goals and what your ambitions are, you think that's going to cause a problem?
It's going to cause a divide. And these are questions that we have over the years looked at. What are some of the biggest problems in marriage? Because we work with married couples, engaged couples, mm-hmm. couples who are excited about getting married, and couples who are on the verge of divorce. And these are just some of the things that we have consistently seen as pitfalls or struggles or things that are really hard to overcome. So we want to help you not go through that.
So if you're listening to us tonight, we're actually, as you just joined us, we're actually outside of
at the pool.
So we just hanging out here. If you can hear us okay, if you chime in where you're actually watching or listening from.
Right.
And if you're watching this later, chime in where you were at when you were listening, where you're driving. Well, hopefully you're not driving home, but if you're just at home chilling out or relaxing, just chime in where you're actually watching.
Let us know where you are. Let us know where you're watching from, because we want to know you. We want you to know us.
So
we appreciate you.
So the second one that we want to talk about tonight, questions that you need to ask if you're engaged and thinking about before you get married, is what is your ideals about money?
Oh my gosh.
You want to go ahead? You jump in.
Yeah, the reason why this is important, and Gil and I were having this conversation, we're talking about the difference between a girlfriend and a wife. Me as a wife, if he gives me $500, mm-hmm. I am going to invest that in our family. As a girlfriend, if you give someone $500, they may spend it on themselves. And so how do you see money? Do you see money as security? Do you see money as an investment? Do you see it as power?
Hmm.
Those are the kind of conversations. Do you believe in having a budget?
This
You,
actually kind of goes in line with your very first one where we talked about goals and ambitions. This actually, what are your financial goals? If
right,
if you're out trying to say, I want to buy a house in the next
right,
5 to 10 years, or even sooner, and that person is not in line with that,
right.
that's something that you need to know very at the very beginning. Because if not, guess what's going to happen? Conflict.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
you want to keep that in mind, so talk about your goals and ambition. Go ahead.
And it's not that conflict is bad, because
Right.
conflict is a part of a relationship. Conflicts are a result of you wanting or needing something that you
Hmm.
haven't gotten. Maybe you didn't communicate it, or maybe it's just natural. Conflicts are going to happen, so we're
Hmm.
not saying it's a bad thing. Only unresolved conflict. So what's the next one, babe?
Family. How is your family? Well, not necessarily how you relate to your family. What role and what position does your family have in your life?
Right.
If you're very very close and tight knit, and mom, dad, sister, brother, aunts, uncles have a lot of input into your life and how things go,
Yeah.
that's something you want to know and discuss at the very beginning, because it will cause a conflict.
Another thing that's important to remember on the flip side of that, if you are close to your family and the person that you're thinking about getting
Hmm.
engaged to or married does not have a close relationship with their family, and they're trying to pull you away from your family, that's something else to be mindful of, because isolation is very dangerous. A part of building a relationship is that when you stand before to get married, you're not just the two of you, it is
Hmm.
your family.
Hmm.
So, not that they should have the last final say, but they should be a part of the process. And so don't totally change from the way you are as a person because you're going into a relationship with someone
What,
else.
in addition to what that actually goes with when you talk about your family, is what is your ideal for family?
Yeah.
Do you want to have children? Do you not want to have children? Do you want to have them earlier? Do you want to have them later? Those are all points of discussion that you need to have and
Yes.
do while you're in the dating phase before you get engaged, because that can have a bearing on even some of those financial goals and some of your ambition goals when it
Yes.
comes to your, as far as careers and vocations. Those are things that you want to keep in mind, because if not, it's going to cause a
Divide.
conflict.
No, it may not necessarily cause a conflict. It may cause a break in the relationship.
Right.
And so you want to know all these things in the beginning,
Hmm.
because you don't want to get to the day before the wedding and find out, oh my gosh, we are totally on totally opposite ends on the spectrum on everything. So these are things you want to just to allow yourself to enjoy the whole process of dating and
Right.
getting engaged and getting married. Ask the hard questions up front. Don't wait until you're emotionally invested.
Oh, absolutely. This is something that you want to think about. I think about us because at one point when we were just dating and we were in this stage,
Hmm.
initially Renee didn't want to have children.
Actually, initially, Gil didn't either. We both agreed we weren't going to have kids.
Right.
And then something, my godmother died, and her whole thing was every woman should have a baby. And so my whole,
Philosophy.
I flipped
Yeah.
the script on him, and I was like, babe, I want a baby. He was like, you want a what?
Mhm.
And we talked about it,
Right.
and I think we were both just afraid of not being able to be good parents. Not that we didn't like kids. It's just that we were afraid, and so we talked about it, and
Hmm.
we agreed.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even from the very beginning, one my very first focus was I wanted to be married and be get to know my wife first, because
Yes.
once you add children to the mix, it can change the whole dynamics of
Your
your
relationship.
relationship with as spouses, as
Yes.
boyfriend, girlfriend, as husband, wife, because those things have a big factor, because you focus on
It means so
becoming the
much.
parents. Yeah, you focus
Yeah.
on trying to be a good parent that is just going to naturally draw you and pull you away from each other.
Right.
But that's where you have to make a stand and make a choice on
Yes.
what is it you want to invest in and when you want to invest in
Yes.
it.
And understanding that anything that has to take priority over your first commitment, which is you and God, and then you and your spouse, children are going to be a part of that. So you just have to make a decision about that and still prioritize time together as a couple if you do have
Hmm.
children.
Hmm. So this is something that we want to talk about also. What is your ideal of a man's role and a wife's role in your relationship?
Yes.
That's a good dating question. That's something that you can discuss, and we can talk about it from the perspective of who's going to take out the trash,
Yeah.
who's going to wash
Who's
the
gonna cook?
dishes,
Who's gonna stay home with the kids?
who's going to do all those things, because you
Right.
don't want to have a mindset of this is how it's going to be and not have that clearly communicated when you're just before you get to that final commitment stage. Because if you do, it's going to cause an issue later on down the
Yeah.
road.
And I think a part of it is just anything you don't talk out, you're going to act out.
Hmm.
And I know for Gil and I, like for me, I worked in the morning. So we decided I would go into work early and get off early so that he could get Aaron ready for school and get her ready. And then I would be there after school. So those are the kind of decisions that you have to talk about. Who's going to cook dinner?
Hmm.
Who's going to stay home? And you talk about those things, because if you don't talk about it, it's going to be a problem. And just because you don't talk about it, if there's tension, it's because you haven't talked about it. So please try to, take the time to talk things through.
Because you can have a different ideal, like at the very beginning in our relationship, man makes the role, makes the money and those types of things. Those are some of the philosophies that you have to work through. Because Matt, while that may be how you think now
In your mind.
in your mind, once you start clearly communicating and looking at investing in the time, effort, and energy into your relationship, you're going to start thinking, well, do I still want to hold on to that belief system that I have when it comes to a traditional role that a guy may have?
Yeah, and a lot of times, now things have changed so much. Sometimes the dad is a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
Sometimes the mom is a stay-at-home.
Hmm.
So it really just it's there is no specific way to do it. That's something that you as a couple have to talk through and work through and say, well, what is this going to look like for us? Because I think it's those small things that we don't talk about that
Right.
create the most upset, because sometimes we keep it inside of us and we
Hmm.
don't realize that if you don't talk it out, you're going to act it out. So we just want to help you to not do that.
So number, I don't even know what number it is. We just gonna keep
You're a
going.
number
Five.
five. You're a number
So
five.
how about this one? What are your hobbies? While it may not seem like it's a big deal, that's going to change. One thing that we talked about in the past couple weeks was, what role does video games play in your relationship? That's a pretty big one
That's okay.
right now.
Put that in the chat.
That's
If
a big
you are
one.
a gamer and you like to play video games a lot, or whatever it
And
is
this
that
is
you
not
like to
just a
do a
guy
lot,
thing.
if
This is
you're
just
if
not a
you're a
guy thing.
shopper and you like to shop a lot,
Well, is
put that
shopping a
in the
hobby
chat.
though?
Uh,
Is shopping
a
a hobby?
woman a woman will say that shopping is a hobby. Ladies, is shopping a hobby? Put that in the chat if you think it is.
So, guys, if you're into the video games, that's fine. But you're going to have to reprioritize and reframe that when it comes
Yes.
to your relationship. Because if not, you're going to say, well, I want to play my game tonight, or I had plans to play with my friends online. And I heard a statistic that the average gamer now is 35.
Wow. So
I
it's
mean,
getting
like
older.
the ones that are really, really hardcore into, maybe because they're the only ones that can really afford the systems now, because them things
Yeah,
are
that could be it.
expensive.
Yeah, and I want to sidebar. I want to talk about a story about us when we first got married. Is financially, there were things that I was used to doing. I was used to going and buying shoes whenever I wanted to. Gil was
Hmm.
used to going and buying CDs whenever he wanted to. We had to, as a couple, sit down and talk about, okay, now if we only have a certain amount of money for our household expenses, that means that we can't equally spend that amount of money on our casual, just things we like to do. And so we sat down and we talked about, okay, so who's going to get what, and
Right.
who's going to do. And so those are the kind of things that if you don't talk through it, it's going to be a problem.
Hmm.
Just wanted to share that story because I think sometimes you don't realize that there are things that the things we're talking about are things that every couple has to go through, and most couples end up splitting because they think that something is wrong because they have a disagreement, and you're going to have disagreements. You're not going to see things the same way.
Going back to what the point that we were just talking about, hobbies. Guess who was the gamer, y'all? When we first got married, I remember we were out, and this is before the new systems are out
Dun,
there.
dun,
Yeah,
dun, 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 dun,
Renee
dun,
was
dun,
addicted
dun,
to y'all.
dun,
See,
dun, dun.
y'all would probably think I was the gamer.
I was
Renee
the
spent
gamer.
some major hours on Super Mario
I would
Brothers.
hear it in my sleep.
That's what she came to bed after playing
Do,
it
do,
13,
do,
14
do,
hours. I
do, do,
wonder
do,
why.
do, do,
She
do.
come back and said, I hear that music in my sleep. Me being the understanding person that I am, I said, that's okay. It'll get out your head sooner or later.
Not if you stop playing. You got to
You
stop
got to
playing it.
stop, put the game, put the controller down. That's when it was on a cord, y'all, and you had to, the two
Yeah.
buttons, the all those things. And this is without some of the secret cheat codes: left, right, upright, left, right, BA start. None of that.
Yeah.
So
It
if
had
I if
that.
you know what that means, you old school when it comes to the games. But believe it or not, Renee was the gamer
I
when
was a
it came to.
gamer.
She was.
I was. And so I think sometimes, and just like that comes to roles and responsibilities. There's certain things you expect that would be the woman's thing. Gil knows more about designer clothes than I do. He can see a pair of shoes and know
Ain't
who
got
they
none.
are, what the designer is. And so we both bring different things to the relationship. And I think that that's the beauty of being in a relationship with another person, is
Right.
that they're going to show you things and teach you things you didn't know, you never experienced. How many more? What are the other questions, babe?
Three more.
Three more.
Three
Okay,
more.
let's get those other three questions.
Let's talk about your plan for health issues. I know it may not sound like a big deal, but if you don't have a plan for what happens when somebody's not feeling well or not,
For better, for worse, in sickness and in health.
especially this is geared specifically towards someone who is in the engaged or even dating stage or moving towards that. These are the kind of conversations you want to have, even though it may not seem like it's important or it's a big deal right now.
It
You don't
could
want it to
be.
become a big deal when someone has a real major health crisis or something. God forbid it happens, but if it does happen, how are we going to, what is our plan for
Yeah.
that?
And I think a part of, when people say, oh, I didn't sign up for that. If you decided to spend the rest of your life with someone, when you say those vows for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, and you can't commit to that, you might not want to be on the road towards marriage, because marriage is the one place where you will have to be selfless, and you may have to do. I think about some of the things that Gil has had to do to take care of me that would
I
have
can't say
been
it on here.
would have been humiliating if I was the kind of person that was very prideful.
And it goes both ways.
Yeah, but a part of it is that this is the one person where I can be totally myself, naked and unashamed.
And you
And
should
that's
be.
what you want.
Yeah,
And
you
and
should
I'm
be.
grateful for
But
that.
that goes all towards working towards an effort of being honest, open, and transparent. The more
Hot.
you are with each other, not just in these kind of questions that we just throwing out to you tonight, just giving you some food for thought and some things that you can actually implement in your relationship. It's things that you
Right.
want to actually start thinking about and talking about, not just where we want to go eat, what vacation we
Yeah.
want to take. Hey,
Yeah.
what?
What you want for your
Yeah,
birthday?
those are things. While those things are important,
Right.
the things that are majorly important are the things that you're going to have to make decisions about later on down the road that can have a big impact on the relationship.
Well, y'all know I love Dear Future Worthy podcast. And I was listening this week, and one of the guys who was on there, he said something I thought was so good. He said, I want to be with somebody that I can sit in a room and do nothing with.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, this is so good. Gil and I can
We're
sit,
so boring, y'all.
we can sit in a room and and we can be in the same house, and he can be in one, but I'll be in another room, or we could be sitting in the room. If you have to entertain someone all the time, that is going to get old. And I thought that that was really good, because that's something that after 34 years of us being together, yeah, it's not always going to be up, and it's not always going to be entertaining. It's not always going to be fun, but this is someone that I love to do nothing with,
Hmm.
and I love to do everything with. And that's what you have to look for.
Yes, absolutely. So that's talking about it, even though this one kind of goes in line with health and wellness. But let's talk about some financial issues that you may have, just or a family issue that you may have, or a work issue that you may have, or just an issue with each other. These are called your tough times.
Right.
How are you? Are you, as they would say, the ride or die type? When
Right.
things are going great, everybody's good. You don't have
Right.
to think about those kind of things, and you don't want to actually talk about negative things happening in a relationship. But
Yeah,
when
like
they do, and they will happen,
that
and
will
they're
happen.
going to happen.
Yeah. And we have had some major, like, for me, I've had a lot of tragedy. My mom got killed by a serial killer. We adopted my siblings.
Hmm.
My dad died shortly right after that. Then Gil's mom. So we've had a lot of death, a lot of trauma,
Right.
a lot of just really bad things to happen. But instead of it breaking us, it made us closer, and
Right.
it let me see who he was when things were going bad, and I've let him see who I was when things were going bad. If you can only see the person when everything is going great, then you haven't been together long enough. You need to see them at their worst, because anybody can be great when everything is going great. But how are you when things are going bad? How are
Right.
you when your account is in the negative? How are you when you're sick? How are you when you lost a parent? How do you deal with those things?
And if you are there for each other now,
Right.
you're already on the positive side of those tough times. You
Right.
know, if you, as they say, you play like you practice,
Yes.
you're actually going to be continuing on that path. you want that be that person even when things are not going as well as they could be.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to handle it together?
Yes.
It's not a you have this thing going on, I have my thing going on. You want to actually be partnered in with each other.
Together.
Yeah.
That's important. That's important. So those are the 10.
No, one more.
Oh, one more.
One
Okay,
more.
one more.
And
One
it's
more.
actually Renee's favorite topic. I'm gonna let her start it out. You want to talk about what do we need to do to cultivate and build on intimacy?
Okay, into me I see, and we always talk
First,
about.
why is intimacy so important in the relationship, even as an engaged
Well,
side?
because your intimacy starts with your intimacy with God.
Hmm.
And the reason why that's important, because we have a space in us as humans that only God can fill. And if we don't let God fill that space, we're going to have very unrealistic expectations for other people and even ourselves.
Hmm.
And so if we're intimate with God, then it allows us to be full so that we can give people the best version of ourselves. So if you don't have that intimacy with God, we can't have it with ourselves, and we definitely can't have it with somebody else. And intimacy is not sex. Intimacy is being vulnerable and transparent and being totally naked and unashamed.
And this is a part of the secret, y'all. The intimacy that you actually build is a prelude to all the other 9 things that we gave you.
Yeah.
If you're doing some of those things at the very beginning, your intimacy is going to grow. That's the part of being emotionally intimate.
Yeah.
Those are part of being spiritually intimate
Intimate.
when you are sharing those values, when you're sharing those capabilities that with each other, being there for the tough times, when
Yeah.
you deal with adversity and whether it's your finances or whether it's
Or
with
your
your
health.
family or friends or health or all the other things that we kind of
Or
talked about.
betrayal.
Yeah.
Because guess what? In order for someone to betray you, they have to be close to you. A stranger can't betray you.
Mhm.
How do you deal with that? I was watching a video today, and there was a guy, and his wife was asking him, "What would you do if I cheated on you?"
Mm.
And I thought about that. I'm like, when you really love someone, you have to think about even the worst case scenario. And I know when we were younger, we would say, if you cheat on me, I'm going to kill you. But honestly, I really believe that when that space in your heart is filled, cheating is a result of you needing something or you wanting something. And so I could say with a clear heart that if you were to cheat on me, I would work on us building and rebuilding the trust and the intimacy, because now I know how. I think before I said, oh, I would never
Mhm.
do that, I would kill him, because that's the easy solution, to kill the person, but that's not solving the problem. So it's understanding as you grow and as you mature, you begin to realize I can fall, I can make mistakes. So therefore, I want to give the other person the grace to do the same
And those
thing.
are the things that you want to be thinking about, talking about, and communicating with each other right now before you walk down the aisle, before the big party, after the ceremony, and those
Yeah,
things. While those are the great parts,
yeah.
but it's
That's just
such
a
a very,
small
very
part,
small part of the things that you're going to build and to
because you're
do and to
signing
live.
up for a lifetime together, not just a wedding day.
And one thing that I wanted to share with you, as far as even as we going, Renee got
Into
some,
the
she got some
game, it's
games,
game night, y'all.
is that sharing of the intimacy. That's the part that you want to be. If I had to say, if you don't take anything away from anything that we talked about in those 9 previous things, focus on the intimacy. You
Yeah.
focus on the intimacy, all the other things would just fall in line.
Yes.
So Renee, she
The
wants to play the
intimacy
game,
with
y'all.
God first.
First.
Because you can have intimacy with the person without intimacy
So
with
it's that
God.
triangle.
Yes, and they show the triangle, babe.
It's the
So
triangle.
most people live here. This
That's
is
you and
you,
you
and
in
you're in your
your
space.
your
And
space.
God is here. The only way you're going to become one is if you come up here to God. So as long as you stay down there by yourself, it's going to just be, you guys are going to be at odds with each other. But if you look up to where God is at the top, it allows you to be one. You can't have oneness without three.
So
God's
while you
math is
bringing out the
different.
cards, one last thing that I was going to make, into the point that as you're going down that aisle into the engagement stage or even down to the marriage stage, just know that this is the most selfless thing that you're going to actually do. You have to be ready.
It's not for selfish
You have to
people.
be ready and willing and be able to say, I'm putting this other person ahead of myself.
Okay,
Renee dropped her glasses.
so
So
hold on, y'all. He's got to help me.
this is
Stacy,
live. So
baby.
we just got to do what we got
Stacy,
to do.
baby.
So these are the questions. Are you
So,
asking, or are you
so,
just,
so
are
I
these
want you to finish. I
rhetorical?
want you to finish the thought
So that
about
was the thought that
being
was,
selfish,
so you have to be selfless
not
to where
selfish.
you are putting, if you can say that I'm putting this other person ahead of me in every facet, in every area of my life moving forward, you may want to start thinking about am I ready? Am I ready to really commit to this person for the rest of my life?
So let
Because
me
that's
give.
exactly
So
what
let
it
me
is.
share a secret that most people don't know. If you are selfish, you really should stay single. I'm gonna just really pause on that because marriage is the one place where you will learn to be selfless, or you will end up being divorced.
Yeah.
Because marriage takes you putting the other person first, their wants, their needs, their goals, your dreams. And that's why it takes God inside of you to do that. Because Gil and I were having this conversation today. It's natural for us to want our own way. It's natural
Hmm.
for self, I want what I want, and to think about yourself. That's natural. That doesn't take much to do that. But for you to say, I'm going to put him first, I'm going to think about him, I'm going to think about his needs and his goals and his dreams. So if I got his back, guess what? He's going to have mine, but I can't do it to get it. So one of the things, there's so much going on right now in the media, and so many couples have this facade of a relationship. The key to having a genuine, wholehearted, healthy marriage is having Christ at the center of it, and two, being selfless, not selfish.
So
So now we're gonna play the game.
enough heavy talk. So what is this we actually doing?
So this game we talked about. We're gonna play games to help us to build what? Put it in the chat if you know what it is. We're gonna play games. It's gonna help us to build the superpower of empathy.
So are we asking questions each other, or are you just throwing these out?
How about we ask? Let's do three. Then that way you can have it in the for people to play it. So if you're watching this, we want you to answer the
These
questions
are
and
rhetorical. Share these with your significant other or
share
your
them.
spouse. We share them with y'all.
Yes.
These are our cards. What are the cards called? These are something that
This is called 52 relationship essential relationship skills, and I'm going to put the link in the description. You can purchase these on Amazon.
I'm just taking three random cards. One, as you say, pick a card, pick a card. So I'm picking two,
Two.
and then I'm gonna pick the third one, and then I'll
Okay,
ask.
so you're going to ask three cards. Okay, so
Uh,
Gil's going to ask the questions this week, y'all.
this is
Y'all
totally
ready?
so. The
Dun,
first
dun,
one. Ooh, dare.
dun. Okay.
What does standing up for yourself mean?
Oh, I have. You know what? For me, I'm going to answer this question. For me, I am the oldest child. My parents were addicts.
Hmm.
I grew up in a lot of turmoil. For me, standing up for myself means saying no without giving an excuse to why it's no. Because see, I
Hmm.
could say no to you if I can say, well, I'm saying no to you because I'm saying yes to you. But for me, standing up for myself is to just say no and not have to feel like I have to give a reason.
Okay. What do
What
you
does
do?
it mean for you, Dare? What does it mean for you to stand up for yourself?
Hmm. Number two, protect.
Oh
What do
wow.
you do when you feel scared, threatened? What do you do when you feel scared or threatened?
Wow, that's a good. I think I would
I
say
can say me. I'll take this one.
yes. Okay.
When I feel scared or threatened, I shut down.
Oh wow.
I actually go more inward into myself and start thinking about what can I do instead of coming to Renee and sharing my fears and whatever that may be. That's where the time where you should come to the other person. So when I feel scared or threatened, I want to isolate and shut down and hide.
Right.
What would you say?
Thank you for sharing that,
Yeah, yeah.
baby. Okay, so what I would say when I feel scared, I am the opposite. I want to find a solution. So I want to react. I want to do something. For me, when I'm scared or I'm upset, I have to build or create. I can't just sit and do nothing. So for me, I have to learn that it's not, some things don't require me to try to fix it. It requires me to sit and be still and allow myself to say, what am I
Right.
really afraid of?
Okay. And then this one, I'll ask it in a two part. The first part is you answer this question. I worry about blank right now. Whatever's going on in your life, whatever you're going through it, whether it's relationship, work, own personal life, whatever. I worry about this right now, whatever's going on. But then the second part of that is
Okay.
ask your significant other, what can they do to help you with it?
Well, me and Gil worry about the same
Mhm.
thing, and
I wasn't about to cry. I was just
this is, and I know this for 100% fact. We worry about the same It's not a thing. It's actually a person. And I think it's a part of being a parent.
Hmm.
We worry about
Our daughter.
our daughter. And what do we do? We pray, we fast, we intercede,
And we talk about.
and we talk about and we do this because we realize maybe there's something that we can say while we're living that even when we're gone will be a benefit to her, to our sisters, and to our family,
And to our you
and
guys.
to you guys. Because I feel like when you have a concern about something or someone, prayer is the best way to find peace in it and to talk, but
Hmm.
also to serve.
And you also always have to have a community of people around you.
Yes.
Don't keep it to yourself. There's so many times that people are going through things and they want to keep it to themselves. We are here.
Yes.
It's 25,000 plus strong of you guys.
Yes,
It's
we
not
love
just us.
y'all.
We love the community. We are here. We do this because we care about you guys. And
We
and
love
if you
you.
need to reach out to us, we are here.
Yes.
So reach out to you wherever you may be. There's somebody around you that can care.
Yes.
And if you
And if
don't,
not, you got us.
call on us. We will. So ask yourself those three questions. We're gonna put them in the link. We're
Yes.
gonna put the questions in the link that you can share
Yes.
with someone. Just to open up. This is all about sharing communication with each other and with your significant other. Even
Yes.
though tonight was all about the engaged couples,
Yes.
that's what we are here to talk about. This is something that is applicable to even friends.
Yes. Your relationships. So we love you and we hope that you guys have enjoyed your time together with us.
It's
We've
dark out
enjoyed our
here
time.
too.
It's getting
We got this
dark.
bright light, but it's
Yeah.
dark. But
So we love you and we will see you guys next Thursday, same time. I don't know what the location is going to be. We
and we
don't
don't know
know.
what the topic
We
is
don't
gonna be
know.
yet. But
Yeah.
we'll
We
we'll
do
be.
know what the topic is going to be.
Oh, we
The
do.
topic is going to be married. Are you ready for marriage? That's what next week is.
Okay.
Marriage. It's for marriage. So next week is for married people. So all of our
So
married
if you know
people.
someone who needs some of that info,
Yes.
point them to our direction. Share them with the page. Like, subscribe. We love you guys, and we'll see
Turn
you
on your
guys.
notifications, please, and click in one of these boxes up here and watch some more of our videos.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Love you guys.
Good
See
night.
you.